So you got a great pantry? You got a great freezer? Are you still going to the pre-mades, frozen pizzas, pre-made lasagna, stuff that you stocked in your freezer because you had a busy day? Let me show you what we do for those busy nights. You may have a stocked pantry and a stocked freezer, but what do you do with it, right? Not everybody can cook every night to use up what you've been storing up, buying on sale, finding great deals. But what we do is we make our own freezer meals. Now, if you've been here before, we've had freezer meal cooking days in the past, and we're gonna do another one. Now, there are certain freezer meals that I make that are staples in our house. One are pot pies, one is shepherd's pies, and the other is soup. So tonight, or today, whatever time of day it is, because it's really early and the sun just came up. Anyway, so today we're gonna make shepherd's pie, turkey pot pie. We're gonna top that with some stovetop because that one is mostly pantry. And we're gonna make a fabulous turkey soup with the rest of the turkey. So let's get this day started. Alrighty guys, so this is our first dinner. We are gonna be making turkey pot pies for the freezer, topped with stovetop. Now, this is what I'm making. Turkey stock, beans and carrots, because I still have some left from last year, and a couple of jars of our potatoes. But maybe you're not a canner. Guess what? There are alternatives. Now this is beef stock. I don't have turkey or chicken, but you can use whatever stock you want. It doesn't matter to make the gravy. Mixed veggies. These ones actually are the ones with potatoes in them, so you don't even need the potatoes. The only other thing you need is a bunch of leftover turkey. Now this is all the dark meat and a little bit of white meat from that big turkey that we cut up and we cooked. So part of this is going to go in our turkey pot pies and part of this is going to go in our soup. So let's make up the only thing we're actually going to cook, which is the stock. Alrighty guys, the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to mix up the filling and we're going to mix it up in this great big bowl. So let's get some of this turkey out. Let's chop it up first. Oh yeah, there's still whole legs in here. I gotta separate those out. There we go. I am literally just randomly grabbing chunks of turkey. That's all I'm doing. That should be enough, I think. Let's get one more. There we go. I may not use all of this. I may not. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Bigger chunks, because that's the way I like it. There we go. Let's put all this in the bowl. And then I got to tidy up. There's the green beans. There's the carrots. There's the potatoes. Now there's more potatoes in the 2 jars than I actually need because I don't have any of the larger jars left, but that should work out. Now if you thought the carrot and the bean water went to waste, no it didn't. I'm not going to waste all that fabulous flavor from the veggies, so what I did is I have that in the pot and we're going to add the turkey stock to it. That smells so good. There we go. So we're going to let this warm up. And we're going to thicken this up and make a nice thick gravy for the containers. I'm going to give this a little extra flavor because I did dilute it with the carrot and the green bean water. So we're going to add some onion powder and a little bit of garlic. And I did add a little bit of our chicken stock base just to give it a little bit more of a richer flavor. What I also did forget was to take a little bit out while it was still cold because I'm not going to dilute it with more water. And this is what we're going to actually thicken it with. And it's starting to warm up. Look at that. Now there's no salt. There's no pepper. The only salt that's in here is from that chicken stock base. All right, it's almost warm. Grab our flour. And give her a good shake. There we go. Slurry. Made a bit of a mess, but that's nothing new. This is a really, really simple meal that you can put together in the freezer with just stuff you got sitting around the house. In my case, I could have used the jarred turkey that we still have left over, but I'm eating down the freezer, so I'm using the freezer turkey. There's our dish. I just gave it a bit of a stir. And here is our gravy mix. So we're literally just going to put it all together. Yes, there is much more gravy than you would think. But don't forget, we want this as a stew. Look at that. You could actually just eat it like that as if you wanted stew. Put some dumplings in there. Oh, tasty. All right, so gave that a stir. Now what I did is I added some parsley and some thyme to it as well because I like those flavors. Now I know we're gonna get the 2 big ones, but I'm hoping we can get maybe 2 small ones too, but I guess we'll find out. There we go, 2 good healthy cupfuls. Let's get rid of the spoon here real quick. Container number 2. Lots of good, nice tastiness in there. Oh, and we should have enough then for 2 small ones. Yay! These ones should both take 1 good meaty scoop. Plus just the rest of it I'll just divvy up. There we go. Ta-da! Not bad, eh? These have to get cold from here. So guys, we've been going for what? 10 minutes? That's essentially 4 meals. So now the 2 big ones we usually eat on their own. The little ones, I might make some beets on the side or something. Or Fred could eat just one on his own if he's by himself. The point is, I didn't go to the store. They are not pre-packaged. I can take one of those out if I know it's going to be a busy morning or a busy day or a busy night. Basically busy. I can pull one of these out, pop it in the oven for a half an hour, done. If I don't even have time for the oven, I can take one of these out and then just scoop it out in a bowl and warm it in the microwave. 4 dinners in 10 minutes. Alrighty, it's time for the cheater topping for our turkey pies. So I could probably get away with just one of these, but I want to fill it up a little bit more, so I'm going to make 2. So we're doing the microwave directions. So for these, it's 3/4 of a cup of hot water and a couple tablespoons of butter or margarine. So let's get some butter. So we're gonna add 1.5 cups of hot water because we're making 2 packages. When you do the microwave method, you only use normally 3/4 of a cup of water. All right, 1.5 cups of water, melt the butter. My butter is still cold because I did just take a pound of butter out of the freezer, so this may take a moment or 5 to melt. There we go. Still a couple little tiny pieces. Now it is time for the cheater dressing mix. Give it a good stir. All right, now this microwaves for 4 minutes. Turkey pot pies are done, including the stovetop, which, yeah, that's a prepackaged. If you have a good cooking day and you want to make homemade dressing, put the homemade dressing on top. Maybe the turkey is left over from Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, or just because you wanted to cook a turkey, then use the homemade dressing. Do whatever you want. You want to put pastry on top? Put pastry on top. You want to put biscuits on top? Put biscuits on top. The point is, it's cooked, it's ready, and you just got to heat it up, and it's homemade. So like Fred says, you can do this instead of waiting a half an hour at McDonald's. Wait a half an hour and put something in the oven. Next thing we're going to make is soup. Soup, I know, it sounds silly, right? Soup is good. Soup is easy. Soup is healthy. Soup is tasty. And it's a great way to use up older veggies that you might have laying around that you don't want to go to waste. Let's make some soup. Alrighty, so I've already cut up the turkey. Now this isn't going to go in for a bit, but what I have in here right now is celery. This celery is the same stuff that we cut up for soups, and it was in the freezer. One of those things we need to use up, right? Let's get some onions in here. Alright, here comes the onions. Now I'm going to chop this onion up too, but it's not for the soup. That's actually for our third meal. Now when I said this is a great way to use up older veggies, that's exactly what I mean. Now there's nothing wrong with them. They're still nice and crispy and all the fun stuff, but we're going to peel these up and add them to some rather soft cabbage. Now the easiest things in the world to put in the freezer is soup. You don't have to make fancy soup. You want beef soup? Use some leftover roast beef. You want chicken or turkey soup? Use leftover chicken and turkey. You're a vegetarian? Use chickpeas. Use lentils. Use navy beans. Pinto beans. Use whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Me, I have turkey that needs to be used. So we are using turkey. Now, I am also going to do this as a tomato-based soup. I'm going to be also putting a jar of turkey stock, one of the older ones that I need to use up, and a jar of tomato sauce, as well as some water. There we go. Let's start with 3 carrots. I think that should be all we need. Now I want smaller pieces because we're also going to be using barley. But this little nog here, we want to take out. There we go. Ta-da! Alrighty, I'm going to chop these up. And then we're going to keep going. Our onions and celery are ready. First thing we're going to add is this light turkey stock that we have. We're going to add a jar of water. There we go. Now let's go get the tomato sauce. Small jar of tomato sauce. Let's go get another jar of water. Now if you don't want to make a tomato-based type stock soup, you don't have to. Alright, let's season this up. Tiny bit of thyme. And a couple of bay leaves. There we go. Now I was also going to chop up one of our frozen garlic for it, but I forgot to take it out of the freezer because it happens. So we're adding some garlic powder. Let's let this start to cook. Alright guys, this is what we have for veggies. We have carrot, pea, and cabbage. We are boiling. Time for veggies. And the barley. Now barley, it goes a long way. Now when this is almost done, that's when we're going to put the turkey in. And we'll pop the potatoes in as well, those last few that we have. And then we're going to let this get cold. And then this is also going in the freezer. Who says healthy, homemade has to be hard? Soup is cooked. Alrighty, let's add a little bit more water because we still have to put a couple more things in here. Time to put in all the turkey. I don't care if it breaks apart. It's turkey. Doesn't bother me. There we go. Got the turkey. And those last few potatoes, because I'm not going to let them go to waste. Alrighty, guys. That's it. You've now made a nice, tasty, healthy, easy dinner for your family. So I'll be putting these in 3-cup containers. Well, technically they're almost 4, but I'm only going to put about 3 cups in. Okay, so I've let the soup cool down, so now it's time to get it in. It's not cold yet. It still needs to cool down even more. But it's time to get them in containers so they can get cold for the freezer. So what I'm doing first of all is I'm just doing a really good content scoop with a lot of the actual, you know, goodness here. 2. I should get a good 2.5 in each one. There we go. Oh, this is going to work out perfectly. Now, these are 4-cup measures, like I already told you guys. And being that I'm putting soup in them, I'm not filling them right up to the top. Soup needs room to expand. And if you don't give it room to expand, that's just going to totally defeat the purpose. 4 more meals. Now, these ones are 100% done. All I have to do is put the lids on these. They're going to go in the freezer, and they will happily stack without any problems, which is one of the things I like when I do freezer meals. Now, these are the little containers that Fred found. Now, these actually came from the dollar store. I'm not going to microwave them. You're not going to get plastics and stuff in the food. This is strictly for storage. Let it thaw out. You can thicken it up, turn it into a stew. You can leave it as it is. If you want it to go a little bit further, add some more liquid once you take them out. I actually like more of a stoop as opposed to a soup or a stew, because I like to be able to put the spoon in and get a little bit of everything. That's just the way I like it. Alrighty, there's our soup. Woohoo! 1 meal, all done. Just has to finish getting cold. Okay, so the dressing, guys, let's fluff it up. I did let it sit for the full 4 minutes like it said, but then I actually let it sit a little bit longer just to let it cool a little bit. There we go. Let's start with the 2 big ones and sprinkle some of this on the top. I'm hoping I actually that the 2 are going to be enough now that I do this. But hey, there's potatoes and stuff and everything in there already. We can probably just get away with some. Okay, next one. Ooh, she's still a little warm in there. There we go. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. And then the 2 little ones. That's not too bad, actually. That worked out all right. Oops, making a mess. Of course I'm making a mess. Where'd that piece go? There it is. Good thing is when the stew underneath is already cold, you can pick it up and sprinkle it around a little better. Done. And I'm not gonna lie, that little bit that's left in there, yeah, I'm all messy. I'm gonna eat that. You know why? Because I can. Chef's portion. Check it out. Meal number 2. 2 large and 2 small turkey pot pies topped there with stove top, because hey, when this stuff cooks up and it bakes in the oven, this gets all crispy. Perfect. Tasty. Just saying. Last meal of the day. Get some oil in here. Not a lot, just a little bit. Yeah, this is the same cutting board I cut the carrots on. Did I care? No. There's going to be carrots in this anyway, right? So the last thing we're going to be making is shepherd's pie. And the filling definitely does need to get cold on this before we put the potatoes on. Or the potatoes just kind of sink to the bottom and it really defeats the purpose, doesn't it? There's our ground beef. So I'm hoping to get at least 6 little shepherd's pies out of this. If I'm lucky, I'll get more. Now the shepherd's pies are gonna go in these little 2-pound containers. So half for me, half for Fred, and quite frequently we'll have an extra veggie with them. If we're in a really big hurry, we might just get some really good bread or a bun or something and eat it with that. Because hey, there's gonna be a lot of veggies in them, right? All right, I'm gonna cook these onions and this ground beef together, and then we'll start mixing this one up. Okay, time to break up the meat. Now I use this pot on purpose because it actually does a really good sear on the little pieces of meat, and it helps get that nice dark color and all the good flavor and all the good stuff. You don't have to make shepherd's pie with ground beef. I have had chicken shepherd's pie, I've had lamb, I've had leftover roast beef, I've had, oh gosh, I had a pork shepherd's pie once. Point is, you can make a shepherd's pie, same thing, with what you got. Now a traditional shepherd's pie, I think is lamb, if I remember right. I have no idea. I grew up with hamburger shepherd's pie, so that's what I make. This has almost got that nice little dark brown sear. I'm gonna let this go, and while this is doing its thing, I'm gonna go grab everything else that we need. A little bit steamy. All right, so I got some color on there, so I'm gonna turn this down. Time to add the peas and carrots. Now I'm using frozen peas and carrots that we have in the freezer. And it is the rest of this bag. 1 big jar of water so far. There we go, that's, let me see. That's probably about 4 to maybe 4.5 cups of water, but I still have another half a cup that we'll probably end up using. Now I didn't put any garlic or anything in. I didn't pull any garlic out. We're gonna sprinkle in some garlic. We're gonna put in some onion powder because we only use that 1 onion. A little bit of thyme, just a little bit. And this time we're gonna put rosemary in. And a little bit of rosemary. Now this is where we're gonna cheat. We're also putting in 1 package of brown gravy mix, mostly because it's got something in it that just kind of really enhances a shepherd's pie. And of course I'm putting that in while the water is cold so it doesn't turn into one great big clump. And I will be thickening it up. A little bit of Worcester because Worcester makes everything taste good. And a little bit of dark soy. The dark soy gives you that nice, dark, beefy look without adding a whole bunch of sugar or salt. All right, so this has got to sit and simmer. I got water on the go for supper. And then in a little bit, we're gonna thicken this up, taste it, see if we need anything. But next dinner on the go. All right, time to make up some slurry and try not to make the world's biggest mess. Yeah, I made a mess. All right, time to start stirring. Whether I get lumps or not, I don't really care. To be honest, I don't really care if I get lumps. You can probably hear the dishwasher going. Lots of stuff on the go today. I have seriously made another mess. It's probably more slurry than I need, but I want it really thick. And of course, the reason why I want it really thick is mostly for ease of assembly. Because once this gets cold, if it's really thick, the potatoes won't sink to the bottom. I've seriously made a mess. Like, oh my gosh. There we go. Oh, it's almost there. All right, so I'm gonna let this cook for a few more minutes. I'm gonna cook out the flour, and then we're gonna load these into the containers. Time for getting these in the containers without making another big mess. All right, so I'm gonna put 1 cup in each first, and then I'll spread the rest around. If we have enough to spread around anyway. Fred's emptying out the dryer for me. And there's enough to put just a partial little scoop in each one of them. Oh, look at that. I was shooting for 6. We got 6. Now these do have to get cold before I can put the potatoes on, to the point where we haven't even cut, cleaned, and mashed the potatoes yet. So we'll do that later on, and then I'll show you what we've done. Here is our last job of the day, mashed potatoes. So I've got a couple of cloves of garlic in here, and apparently two of the potatoes were Yukon Gold. That's okay. So I'm gonna let these boil, and we're gonna mash them all up, and then I'll finish out those shepherd's pies. It's potato time. So I'm gonna give them just a quick mash first, because that garlic is in here somewhere. Oh, there's one. Now you can make your mashed potatoes for shepherd's pies however you want. Me, I like butter, I like milk, I like parsley because I like parsley, a little bit of salt. That's it. So I am not shy with the butter. If I'm going to make potatoes, they're going to be tasty. Now when it comes to the milk, if you don't like milk, you don't have to use milk. If you like cream, use cream. If you like Parmesan cheese, put Parmesan cheese. Do whatever you want. Point is, you make it the way you like it. Woohoo! Mashed potatoes. All right, now here's the one thing. It is easier to put the potatoes on a shepherd's pie when the potatoes are still hot. So, makes it a little trickier, but it also makes it so much easier to spread. See? Check it out. There we go. Shepherd's pie. Ta-da! All right, time to shift locations. And like I said, if you let the shepherd's pie get cold, putting the warm potatoes on top so you get that nice potato layer, so much easier. I'm pretty sure I made enough potatoes. I hope I made enough potatoes. Guess we'll find out here shortly if I made enough potatoes. Hey, even if you overmake the potatoes, leftover potatoes are not a bad thing. They're never a bad thing, because potatoes are good. Tasty. So you guys probably noticed they're not whipped. I didn't take the mixer out. I mean, I admit I'm not a huge fan of whipped potatoes. I prefer potatoes with texture. I've had whipped potatoes that were whipped so much, yeah, I swear you could have used a straw. It was, and I know that sounds weird, but I am being so truthful when I say that. And could I have done that any more perfectly? Wow. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Check it out. 4 soups, 4 turkey pot pies, and 6 shepherd's pies. Now the shepherd's pies are still warm. Once they're ready, I'll put them all in the freezer at the same time. Make my life easy. But essentially I have either 14 meals. Soups we tend to have for lunch a lot. And then those are all our dinners. Doesn't that look good? Like I said at the beginning, freezer meals, they don't have to be hard. Make things that you like. In our case, we like shepherd's pie. We like soup. We make a lot of soup. And we like turkey pot pies, regardless of what they're topped with. But the stove top just makes it easier for the freezer. Now, if I was making it fresh, I probably might have made biscuit on the top. I might have got one of those frozen pie crusts out of the freezer, because you guys all know I don't know how to make pastry to save my life. It works. It works really, really well. So, how much time did I spend? It is currently 3:15 in the afternoon, and I started at 9. I haven't been doing just that all day. So if you think freezer meals to make some healthy, tasty, and convenient meals for your family is like a marathon all day, no. I've washed the bedding. I did a load of laundry. Haven't folded it up yet, but that'll get done. Cleaned the toilets. Made dinner. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. So technically we made 15 dinners today, because I also have a baked pasta getting all ready to go in the oven for supper. So that's our freezer meal day. Little as it is, but mission accomplished. By the way, it does probably seem a little counterintuitive. I took a bunch of stuff out of the freezer just to put it right back in the freezer. But the point is, it is stuff that's going back in the freezer that is 100% ready for a meal, and I don't have to actually stop and think about what I'm cooking or how I'm cooking it. I just have to pull it out in the morning, pop it in the oven after work, and dinner in 45 minutes. So what did we use today? I used 7 jars out of our pantry. Turkey stock, potatoes, carrots, green beans. So 2 jars of potatoes, 1 jar of carrots, 1 jar of green beans, and 2 jars of stock, a big one and a little one. Not too bad. I used almost that whole bag of dark meat that was also in the freezer. Fred's going to be picking the meat off of the rest of that, so we're going to have some turkey sandwiches, or turkey salad sandwiches actually, for dinner tomorrow. I worked out to be a little over half of a bag of peas and carrots that came from Walmart. Because, hey, they're in the freezer. They're going to get freezer burnt if you don't use them up, right? I also used 3 carrots and some wilty cabbage in the soup, and the last of the garden peas, as well as some tomato sauce, barley. So, yeah, we used a lot of the pantry today, which was the entire plan, because I am still slowly working my way to eating this thing down. Alrighty, everybody. Once these are cold, I'm going to put them in the freezer, and we'll see you next time as we continue our simpler life here on PEI. Say goodbye, Fred.
Bye, Fred.